Good morning, YouTubers. T Square with T Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great morning. I know I'm pretty excited as of filming this video. I'm filming this video at about 1:30 a.m. and I'm kind of hoping that we're gonna see gold break $3,500 while we're on video. It's quite possible. We've already been tipping just short. We were actually like, oh no, we did hit it. 35. According to this, 3,520 cents. So we actually did hit it briefly. I wish I was on. And then as soon as it hit, obviously we had a little bit of selling, dropped it down 15 bucks. I'm sure somebody out there is going to say, what a sell-off. It's already selling off. and I'm extremely, I'll be honest, it's comical. Because there's so many naysayers out there about how bad of an investment gold and silver is. And here we are seeing $200 in 2 days. I literally filmed this video yesterday, 3,400, and now we're at 3,500. I said, this is just getting nuts. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. We're going to talk about the acceleration that we're seeing. And if you guys enjoy the video, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button for me. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. If you are JC Stacking, leave me a comment with that number. I did get your email. However, I did not see your comment, and I purposely looked for it as soon as you said that you put it on there. You have to put it as a new comment, not a reply, even if you got to comment it on a couple videos. But don't worry, you're not going to lose out on anything. I'll figure it out with you. Okay, so pretty excited. Hit that thumbs up button. If you're not a member, consider becoming a member. It's only $1.99. If you are a member, thank you so much. JC Stacking, he was our member that actually won an ounce of silver this past weekend, and we're going to be giving out more free silver to our members come this next weekend. Actually, with 3 awesome giveaways. Got some Morgan dollars, some Constitutional, and a Silver Eagle. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We will be live for that. For $1.99, you really can't go wrong, in my opinion, to be a member. It's well worth it, and it helps support the channel. Your comments go right to my phone. And who don't want to be a part of the excitement right now at $3,400, $3,500 gold now? I'm pretty soon, I'm going to probably start slipping up and saying the wrong number. I remember when silver hit $32, and there was a couple times where I slipped up at first, and I would still say $22, and people would comment the heck out of it. Dude, quit saying that. So, yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Obviously, you guys know I've been stacking for a little while. But are we really seeing the excitement yet on silver? You know, we're not. I'll be honest. 32.72. It doesn't faze me in the least. It's up 1/4% today. 1/4% ain't bad. It definitely ain't doing 2% like gold a day, where we're seeing $100 gains now a day. I originally said we would see $4,000 gold by the end of the year. I still think we're going to see it. Could we see some sort of a sell-off today? We may. We may see a little bit of a pullback. However, here's my thoughts on this. We got the Fed meeting coming in less than 2 weeks, the 6th and the 7th. What do you think the Fed is going to say? With the economy the way it is, they're going to look at the numbers. They're going to have to probably cut interest rates. If they cut interest rates, I mean, that's going to be huge for the stock market. It's going to be huge for gold and silver. And we will see a big pop. Now, right now, the gold-silver ratio is actually at 106. This is the second highest we have ever seen, with the all-time high being 125 to 1. Can it get up there again? It could. It could. Honestly, though, I think we're going to see a huge course change, and we're going to see that come down pretty soon. I don't know how soon. You know, a lot of people think I have a crystal ball. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just looking at the numbers and trying to make an educated guess on it. And so far, I'm happy with my investments in gold and silver, even though I prefer silver. And I would rather that silver was having these big 2% gains a day. But I'm happy with the numbers of silver where it's at, because this does give me opportunity to buy a little bit more. I mean, I would love to see another huge sell-off like we saw a few weeks back, where silver went all the way down to 28 bucks. However, I don't think that's likely. I know a lot of people say that could happen, especially if the stock market tanks. And looking at the stock market today, down 2.5%. I want you to think about what's happening. Stocks are selling off. Gold is going up. That's a tall tale sign of a recession. A lot of people are getting destroyed, especially people holding Tesla, Nvidia, Apple. A lot of these stocks are just getting destroyed. And down 2.5% in one day is no joke. So Dow Jones closing out the day at 38,170. NASDAQ not doing any better, down 2.5%, down 415 points, closing out the day at 15,870. S&P, got to share that, and hitting the trifecta with everything pretty much down about 2.5% today, except for gold. Gold actually did the reverse, up a little over 2%. Closing out the day at 5,158, down another 125 points, or 2.5%. When you zoom out and you start really looking at these, we saw that big dip, and then we saw that huge one-day rally, and we're already fizzling back down that direction. I think it's going to be ugly. I think we are going into a full recession. I think they know that, and that's why I think they're going to cut interest rates. And we'll see how it plays out once that happens. I got to look at Bitcoin, even though I'm not a Bitcoin fan, but there are a lot of subscribers of the channel that are stackers, and they also, have a little bit of money in Bitcoin. And here's the thing. I've always said there's nothing wrong with being a little diverse. But if you've got all your money in silver, that could be bad. If you've got all your money in Bitcoin, that will be bad. And who knows? We're going to see how this plays out. But, Bitcoin did pretty well today, up a little under 1%, up 0.75%, 657 points up, closing out the day at $88,192, and that's up there. But will we see any kind of a sell-off? Who knows? We've seen a beat down. It went all the way down to 75,000. We're nowhere near the high, but we're definitely not near the low. So if you've got Bitcoin, hey, good luck. With that being said, though, like I talked a little bit yesterday, I really think we're going to see some kind of a huge reversal. But I'll be honest, today when I was taking care of a bunch of stuff, I was sitting there thinking, am I really in a rush to trade my gold for silver? Do I have a lot of gold? No, I don't have a lot of gold. But would it be nice to have a lot of silver if I, traded out that gold for silver? It would, but I'll be honest, I was a little scared to do it. I was a little scared. I was thinking about making some calls, and I said, I don't know if I want to risk it. We could continue to see it go up higher, gold. They have been manipulating a long time, and even I get discouraged sometimes with the manipulation. But deep down, I know the manipulation can't last forever. Eventually, it will break through. Something I was thinking about also was, how many of y'all remember last year at this time when gold was doing really good and silver really hadn't jumped up yet? We were down to, $25? But then all at once, we seen a couple of days where we saw it go up $1.50. The next day it was like $2. The next day it was like 90 cents. And all of a sudden we went from 25 to 30 in a relatively short time period. I would not be surprised to see something like that happen. Right now, we are sitting, like I said, at $32.75 roughly. Don't be surprised to all of a sudden check the prices and you've got silver just shot up to $35-36, and all of a sudden now we're in the low 90s when it comes to the gold silver ratio. And will you miss out? You're not going to miss out. The truth of the matter is, gold is slow and steady. It just keeps working its way up, inching up. And when it comes to silver, silver has that volatility to it. It has big moves all at once. You might have one day where you just see like a 4.5-5% jump when gold does a 2%. And then the next day, you don't see silver really move that much at all. There's a lot of industrial demand for silver. And when the economy is essentially in a recession, Oh man, it's pulling back. I was hoping we were just gonna like push right through it. But here's the thing: this morning when I woke up, the first thing I did was checked it, and we were already at 34.10 roughly, and I was like, oh, I guess it made it through. But who knows? I would be shocked if we see a devastating sell-off. But even if it gives back, keep in mind, gold shot up $200 in 2 days. Statistically, when you have that big of a jump, you have room for a pullback. Now, I don't know why that is, if it's just a lot of people thinking, oh my word, we're at 3,500, sell everything. Or I've always wondered, and this is just my personal feeling, if there are powers that be, the elites, the entities that don't want you investing in gold, might put a lot of money in, drive the price up, and then all of a sudden sell it off. Now, what does that do when you see something like that? Well, right off the bat, it gives them articles that they can write, these stories, these headlines that say, gold, devastating pullback. You hear it all over. Although, what did it really pull back? It gave up what it gained in a couple of days. I mean, so even if gold fell today by $200, what did we get pushed back? We got pushed back a couple of days. That's it. And they're not out anything. They can risk it. They can hurry out, push in a bunch of money, let it go up a little bit more, and then pull it all back out again. And they don't even have to do it. They can do it with paper. A lot of people don't understand the whole paper trade. And I was actually talking to a friend today. He doesn't really understand everything going on. He follows it. Don't get me wrong. He keeps up with it. I talk to him on a pretty regular basis, though. He's a good friend of mine. And, he asked me some questions. And I said, you look at what's going on. This is all textbook. We're seeing the exact same thing that we've seen in Venezuela. We're seeing a country that cannot pay its debt, that has more social programs than it can afford. What does it have for options? If it cancels these programs, you really piss off a lot of voters. You piss off a lot of Americans. And quite frankly, nobody in politics wants to piss everybody off. So naturally, what are your alternatives? What can you do? Well, then you just water down the money and you blame it on someone else. You blame inflation on maybe the Fed. You blame inflation on Russia. You blame it on China. You can blame it on anybody, and you don't have to take blame for it. Now, here's the thing. I have a belief it is the Fed's fault. We should not have the Fed. We should have already ended the Fed years and years ago. Kennedy should have done it. Obviously, though, they are a very powerful entity that you cannot go after, I think. I know in Reagan's farewell speech, he actually ended up mentioning that there is an entity forming, and, it has immense power. And if it doesn't get put in check, that's it. We're going to lose this country. We're going to lose the dollar, and that's it. And that's really where I think we're at right now. I think that's what's happening, where a lot of countries are going against the dollar. They don't want to be a part of the dollar system anymore. I mean, why not just hold gold? They can hold gold. And here's the thing. They can sell gold. If they need money for something, if they do need dollars, they can sell some gold off. And if you're saving in dollars, I mean, you understand, if you're saving in dollars, let's do this year to date real quick. I mean, let's say at the beginning of the year, you had $2,600 to your name, and you said, I'm going to put it in a bank account. And then somebody else had the same $2,600, and they said, I'm going to buy an ounce of gold. That $2,600 is still just $2,600 in their bank account. But the person that bought the gold, boom, now we're at almost $3,500. Now, I know some people out there are going to say, oh, yeah, but you got to take a hit when you sell it. You got to pay a premium. I actually heard this argument from someone the other day. He's like, I think gold and silver is a horrible investment. When you buy it, you can't even get spot. You can't even buy it for spot. You have to pay a premium, more than spot for it. And when you go to sell it, what a ripoff. You can't even get spot price for it. Now, here's the thing. I don't believe that. I believe when you go to sell it, it's easy to get spot. If you're impatient, you're going to go to a pawn shop. You're going to tell them, I need money right now. It's an emergency. People tend to talk too much. And once you realize that, it benefits you to listen. I got to be honest, I talk a lot in my real life. Well, I guess who am I kidding? You guys hear me all the time. I like to talk. And for a long time, I didn't often listen as much as I like to talk. Nowadays, when someone else is talking, I really like to listen because you can pick up a lot of stuff from them. You can figure out if they really know what they're talking about, or, are they just spewing nonsense? Are they, I've had someone tell me, it was kind of funny. I was talking to one lady one day, and she was trying to explain Bitcoin to me. And really, I think this lady was just trying to find a way to chat me up. And she's talking like she, hey, yeah, I do crypto trading and this and that. I really like it. And you take like Bitcoin, and right now it's less than a penny, and eventually it will be like $1. And so that's why you ought to invest in that type of stuff now, because I found it kind of cute, I'll be honest, because here I am just listening to her, and I knew, I was like, there ain't no way that Bitcoin is a penny. And I didn't even need to pull up the chart, and I wasn't going to correct her. I just let her talk. And, a lot of people don't really understand gold and silver. They don't even understand cryptos. I mean, really, they don't even understand in some cases. Oh, I don't know if I should say that. I was about ready to say biology. I was about ready to make a comment, but I gotta be careful and watch what I say. But I watch some crazy stuff about. I watch all these protests. I like watching people that are protesting stuff and listen to what they have to say. I have one lady that I'm friends with, and she's opposite side of politics than I am. And literally, when I listen to her, I sometimes wonder where some people get the info that they're talking about. I mean, people just listen to news and whatever they hear on the news. And I'm not saying what side I'm on or anything. Some of y'all may know. Some of you may not know. But literally, whether you're listening to Fox, totally one way. You're listening to CNN, totally the other way. And it's crazy what's going on right now. And here's the thing. I really think they want us to be stupid. Because if we're or dumbed down, I guess you can say, to make it a little nicer. I don't really beat around the bush too much. But if we're dumbed down, then we're not paying attention to what's going on in the world. We're not paying attention to gold prices. We're not watching what's going on. We just believe everything we're told. We hear the dollars at the DXY's at 98.15. Oh, hey, see, it's still pretty high. Look at it on the historic. I'm going to pull up the all chart real quick. Obviously, if we're at 100, we're basically right on this, just below this line that's coming across. Look how low it can go before we're in a bad spot. It can go all the way down to 72 before we're in a bad spot. People don't really realize that even this is manipulated. All the numbers are manipulated. And someone could make the argument, does that mean gold and silver is manipulated? And I laugh at that because we know gold and silver is manipulated. We know that something that comes out of the ground, oh, nice. I want to see it go all the way down, at least $32. We know that something that comes out of the ground anywhere from 12 to 1, 15 to 1, cannot have 106 to 1 ratio in price. And once you realize that there has to be manipulation. Then you start looking around for the manipulation. So we know it takes place. Some people debate it. I actually had a talk with a friend of mine today, and I was explaining that, and he's like, yeah, no, it makes sense. I understand that. I'm just wondering, are we at a high and now we're going to see a pullback? Personally, I mean, we could see a little bit of a pullback, but how devastating is it going to be? And once you see it go up to higher numbers, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to remember $3,500 gold. So if all of a sudden we see a huge devastating pullback to 3,300, that's only $200. I wouldn't even say that's devastating, but some people will say that's a big hit. It's a devastating hit. Even if it pulls back to 33, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are just going to buy. because people are buying at the higher prices now. And the beauty is silver is not even at its recent 11-year high. We're at $32.61 right now, down a couple of pennies on the day and in overnight trading. And here's the thing. I bought some at $34.70. So yeah, I mean, I'm down $2 an ounce on the last order that I had bought. Or I'm sorry, I don't know, maybe the second to last order that I bought. I don't remember. But it doesn't change anything because I know it's going to be right back up there in really no time at all. Now, none of this is financial advice, just my opinion. I'm telling you guys how I feel about this stuff. And people can take it as a grain of sand. They can naysay in the comments, or they can just keep on stacking. I want to have what I want by the time it goes to the moon. Because here's the thing. I'll be honest. You guys know I've said I liked gold too, not as much as silver. I've got to elaborate that each time, not as much as silver, so someone don't think that I'm, I don't know, shelling you all. But the truth of the matter is, it's harder for me to stomach buying a gold coin right now. Whereas I didn't mind buying. If I thought it was a pretty coin, I would buy it back then. Now, that's not really the case. I mean, I'm slowing down. I actually read a comment today. Someone said, he paid $360 or $70 for a 1/10 ounce gold coin. Here's the thing. It's hard to find them under $400 now. So we're going to see what happens with this. We're going to see if we get some sort of a devastating pullback. I doubt it. We ended up coming down a little bit, and now you look right here. We were at $34.95 earlier in the day, and we came all the way down to $34.72, and then we went right back up to the $35.20. And now we're, bouncing around a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow, 10 o'clock, if all of a sudden we've got $3,530. But we could see a big pullback, so we'll see what happens. With that being said, I'm going to wrap up the video here. I thank everybody for watching. Please be sure to check out all of our other great videos. I think I'm actually going to use the same thumbnail and make it 3,500. Literally the exact same thumbnail. Only because it would be funny if all of a sudden we have a row 34, 35, 36, 37, and just keep it going and see how many days in a row we could have $100 gains. But if it goes up too fast, it does give it room and make it easier for a pullback to happen. So, or more probable. So we'll see. A slow and steady is what wins the race, and for that reason, I'm still liking silver. With that being said, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys again tomorrow on T-Square Talk. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.